What's up guys, Bob Buskirk here at ThinkComputers, and today we're taking a look at a case from NZXT. It is their H630, and this is meant to be a silent case, but at the same time you're going to have room to fit all of your impressive hardware inside. So let's just go ahead and check it out. Now this is a full tower case, so you're going to be able to fit XL ATX, extended ATX, ATX, and micro ATX motherboards inside, so you have a lot of flexibility. Now as you can see, we received the black version. It also comes in a white version as well. If we start here on the front of the case, you can see it is just a nice plain design here, very sleek and sophisticated looking. You have two 5 1/4 inch bays right here, and you do have a power LED right here. The rest of the front, as you can see, is covered. Now there is a fan filter for a bottom fan that just comes out just like that. Extremely easy. You know, removable fan filter means you can take it out, clean it without having to, you know, really move your system around or anything like that. To keep the front of the case nice and clean, NZXT has put all of your connections and all of that stuff on the side here. So you have this button right here, and what this actually is for is there's LEDs on the back of the case that will light up your expansion slots in the back of your motherboard, so it's easier to install you know, USB cables, and easier to install your cables. So this will toggle that light on and off. You have your HD audio connections. You have two USB 3.0 ports, two USB 2.0 ports, and an SD card reader. Also, since the front of the case is all you know, plain, there's no ventilation or anything, there's actually ventilation on each side here, so you can get that nice air intake into the case. Now the top of the case is really interesting. One thing I do want to really point out is this cool little divide between the front panel and the top panel. It just looks really cool. Just gives a nice little touch to the case. Now you do have your power, which is a much larger button, and a smaller reset button right up here. And then you do have some ventilation up here if you do want to install your fans. And you're looking at this and you're like, how am I going to install fans? It actually is really easy. This top part actually pops off. We can easily get it to pop off here. Pull it from the back a little bit, and it should pop off pretty easily. There we go. So it's just a little bit, but as you can see right here now, it has this sound dampening material. So if you don't want to, you know, you don't want all that sound coming out, so you have sound dampening material here on the top. But as you can see, you have a lot of room for expansion as far as fans and everything like that goes. If we take a look at the back of the case, we can see there is a 140mm exhaust fan installed. Now, one thing NZXT has been doing for a while now is they have these fan mounts that allow you to move the fan up or down depending on where your CPU is at inside of the case. It just makes things, you know, get that little bit extra cooling here. Now you have all of your expansion slots right here. You have some more ventilation right here, and of course your power supply is going to be mounted on the bottom. And with that, you do have another removable fan filter here, which is specifically made for the power supply. And again, these are great because you don't have to move your system around or get into your system to clean these out. You can just easily take them, clean them out, and as you can see here, slide it right back in. Of course, like most cases these days, we do have thumb screws on both side panels, so they're going to be extremely easy to take off. So before we actually get into the case, I have taken the side panel off, and I just wanted to show you that there is some very thick sound dampening material here. Remember, this is made to be a silent case, so sound dampening material is definitely a must. So we'll move this out of the way here, and we can go ahead and take a look inside here. As you can see, one thing that NZXT has really excelled in, you know, pretty much one of the best in the business is their interiors. They've listened to, you know, consumers, they've listened to everybody, and they've done things that people just want. That makes things so much easier, you know, because building a system, while you may just have to do it once a year or once every couple years, they just make it extremely easy. So starting at the top here, you have two 5 1/4 inch bays, and they do use a toolless locking system. And what's great about this is that it is made of metal. So, you know, we see a lot of plastic toolless locking systems. These are made of metal, so that ensures they're going to last and not break. Moving down, you have your hard drive cages. You have 1, 2, 3 cages, and the top and bottom cage support 3 hard drives, while the middle cage supports 2. Now, the trays actually come out from the opposite side, which we're going to show you once we get to the back side of the case, but these trays do support 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch hard drives. Looking at the bottom part of the case, there is room for another fan right here, as well as your power supply mount. Now, there are these little rubber bumpers right here, which will gonna lift your power supply up off the bottom of the case to provide for better airflow. Looking at the rest of the inside of the case, there is a lot to see here. One thing, of course, is very important is your cable routing holes. Now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 that do have the rubber inserts here, so you're not going to rip or tear your cables. Now, you also have 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's some up here which we'll show you. Those also, while they don't have the rubber inserts, all of the metal here is rounded, so you really aren't going to either cut yourself or rip or tear your cables. And of course, you have a very large CPU cutout right here. Of course, that means that you can install an aftermarket CPU cooler without having to take the motherboard out of the case, which of course is a big plus. There's also fan mounts here on the hard drive cages, so you can install 2 fans right here for better airflow of your intake, and you can take the airflow up into your case, which of course is very important. Now, I've gone ahead and taken the backside panel off of the case. That side panel also had sound dampening material installed, which of course is a plus since this is trying to be a silent case. Now, with the backside panel taken off, we can see a couple things. One, you have 2 SSD trays right here. So if you decide to fill all of these up with hard drives, or you just don't want to use those, you can easily install 2 SSDs right here on the back of the motherboard tray. Just makes it so much easier. Also, you have a fan hub right here. So this will allow you to connect any fan that has a 3-pin connector right to here, one central location, so you don't have all those fan wires all over the place. Just makes it so much easier right there. Also, we talked about these trays right here for your hard drives. Now, these trays support 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch hard drives. Now, for 3.5-inch installation, it will be toolless. 2.5-inch drive installation, you will have to use screws, but once you have them in the trays, they're just as easy to go ahead and just like that, put right back in. Super simple. And then there is quite a lot of room behind the motherboard tray right here, so you can easily route your cables back here, and you won't have to worry about this back side panel fitting right back on. But that is about it here for our quick overview of NZXT's H630 case. Make sure you check back very soon on ThinkComputers.org, as we'll have our full written review. And remember, guys, if you like our videos, why don't you subscribe? Catch you guys later.